This is Travis Wayne Goodsell, and I'm doing a video here on the 1st of December about Mormons. Yet again, some of you are sick and tired of me talking about how evil the Mormons are. And they don't understand. How could you do this? Why do you even bother? Just leave them alone. Look at the example of our government. We have left them alone for these 2 centuries to do whatever they want, trusting that they'll do what's right for us, and we all know they don't. The majority of Americans don't even vote because they know the government is not in their best interests. It's a dichotomy system, and they abuse us. They abuse their position of authority, and so the majority of Americans don't trust our government. And so with the church, I was born and raised in it. We were all told that it's the true church over all other churches. God inspires his prophets. They would never lead us astray. And then I find out they've been lying and deceiving us. And it all comes out in a time where believing that truth is not true, reality is not real, that you can do and say whatever you want because it's protected under the First Amendment, that there are no consequences, and nobody needs to be held accountable for what they do or say, that crime is not a crime. Mormons are following suit. And that is evident with my videos on YouTube. With my website, people just don't comment, but I know they're watching. They watch more on my website than they do here on YouTube. So the percentage of troll abusers are higher on YouTube. And let me give you some case examples. On my video of LDS church president declares church is a fraud. This was a reporting of President Nelson's tweet. It wasn't me creating a tweet. I wasn't creating some kind of underhanded attack on the church. President Nelson did the tweet. Now I know the now President Oaks is the one who is famous for saying you can't criticize the brethren of the church even if that criticism is true. He's lying. Any leader who says you can't criticize me, I'm the leader, you have to do as I say, not as I do. You know that they're in the wrong, automatically. We all know it. Unless you're a part of the organization that trusts that they are right with whatever they do. So Mormons don't see that. They say, yeah, we can't criticize. And it's reinforced in the temple because the covenant we make, the gospel covenant, is that we don't criticize our leaders. We don't, Lord's anointed. Speak evil of the Lord's anointed, I believe it is. I'd have to go memorize the whole thing to get the correct wording, but and then Doctrine and Covenants 121 also, before it talks about how you can identify an evil leader, it says that you can't falsely accuse leaders. And so you got to read the whole context, people. So yes, don't criticize, but here's how you can identify correctly if somebody's out of line and has lost their authority. Many are called, but few are chosen. You know that from seminary. You know that from institute. Those are scripture masteries. You know it from your mission. Scripture masteries. The president of the church, the prophets, are not above the law of God. They do not create the law of God by virtue of being in the position. There are many who believe that. Hold on a second. I'm going to pause. Okay, I'm back. And take care of some business. So I don't remember where I left off as a result. But we're talking about a Mormon abuse and following the example of a bad government leader as well as bad religious leaders. And I discussed section 121 of the Doctrine and Covenants. And so, yeah, Mormons, your leaders are not above the law of God. The law of God was not created by God. And Mormons don't understand that because they've never taken philosophy. And so they don't know that there are different ways of interpreting things. Oh, man. Oof. Sorry. I've got my system set up so that I've got different things going on at the same time here. And so I distracted myself. But that's one of the tactics that's done by the enemy. They distract you from the topic at hand so that you get caught up in their distraction rather than exposing the problem. And I've had discussions with a guy who believes he's Jesus. He has mixed religions so that he believes he's reincarnated but also resurrected, but yet also a full human. You can't mix religious views, people. And so, yeah, I've been trying to use his thinking against him. And with philosophy, that's how you do it, because people have a particular view, an interpretation that they go by. I can't think of the word that's used for it, but it's like people who believe in survival of the fittest. It's not a theory, because theories have to be replicatable. If it's not able to be replicated, you can't have it as a belief. And as a result, for another example, some scientists believe in a Big Bang theory. And because they're scientists, they call it a theory. Yet they can't reproduce the Big Bang, can they? They can't have the Big Bang theory as a theory because it can't be replicatable. You have to be able to replicate it. And even if you claim, well, it will destroy the universe. Sorry, You can't replicate it, can you? Scientists are specifically fooling us into giving them money to continue their job so that they don't have to do actual work in their life, by claiming a lie, perpetuating a lie on the masses. And then you get, the evolutionary theory. The theory of evolution can't be replicated. Remember the missing link? We can't figure it out. DNA does not give us the answers. Because scientists impose their preconceived notion on the DNA results in order to justify their position. But the DNA evidence in and of itself does not indicate that we derived from monkeys or chimpanzees or rabbits or whatever they want to claim that we originated from. And they can't replicate it. Now, news broke yesterday about a Chinese scientist who has altered DNA of a human. He apparently installed a genome or whatever it's called into the DNA to provide a protection for the embryo against getting HIV. And then, of course, the Chinese government found out about it and fired him from his job. And people are saying, oh, he's playing God, you can't do that. And why not? What's wrong with improving the quality of life for mankind? And people say, well, God created us this way. No. The man's sperm and the woman's egg created us the way we are, with the defects, the faults. It wasn't God. And that's why it's important that if we want to be better humans, and we have the availability to do that, why not? Do no harm is the medical doctor's Hippocratic oath. Why not? He wasn't harming anybody. He wasn't harming the fetus. He was improving the quality of life. He wasn't attaching pig ears. He wasn't turning them into some kind of a mutant. He was improving the quality of life. And when we have a government that is polluting and poisoning our land, our water, our air, hurting us, harming us, attempting to murder us, giving us cancers, giving us diseases, giving us mutations, what's wrong with a scientist who says, hey, I can heal us. I can prolong our lives. So the different beliefs that people have a direct impact on how we treat other people. That's why consequences always follow beliefs. Because what you believe in, you act out. And that's what's going on YouTube by Mormons against me. President Nelson did the tweet. He exposed his beliefs. All I did was say, hey, The Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, Joseph Smith say otherwise. This wasn't me using my beliefs to contradict Nelson. Because that's what we see in the political realm with a dichotomous bipartisan government. You know, Democrats complain about Republicans because they're not acting like Democrats. And Republicans complain about Democrats because they're not acting like Republicans. That's incorrect thinking. That's wrong. And so, let me get to the comments. Okay, here we have one guy, and he's looking all cool with sunglasses. And he starts off by saying, girl. He's calling me a girl. He's insulting me. That's abuse. That's inappropriate behavior, especially of a Mormon. And then he goes to use R, the letter R in capitals, and then the letter U in capitals. That's a girl thing to do, Stuart. You know, even though it's become popular in texting, which is probably where he's doing this, is on his cell phone. And so, yes, guys do it too, but in the beginning, women started this. So who knows, maybe a woman created texting on phones. Wouldn't that be interesting to know? But do you see what he's doing? He's insulting me, but revealing he's in the wrong. And he doesn't see this. He thinks he's funny. He thinks he's cool because he's got sunglasses on. And then, are you high? So there you go. This is what people do when they want to discredit you. They claim that you're in an altered state of mind, that somehow you have to be discredited. And so he's saying, I must be taking drugs. And then he goes and does the girl thing from way back in the day before text messaging, LOL. Stuart, did you not read your Book of Mormon? Did you not read about the story of Abinadi? King Noah, the leader of the government and the church, had Abinadi arrested. And they called him mentally ill. They used the word mad. And they called him a terrorist. He was threatening the king, as they accused him of. They were trying to discredit him. And that's why if they can get him to confess and plead guilty, then they are justified in doing what they were doing all this time that Abinadi was complaining about. That's what the Spanish Inquisition was all about. The church leaders falsely arrested people, tortured them in the dungeon prisons, and forced them to confess that they, the victims, were wrong. And so what Stuart is revealing in his comment that I deleted is part of that abusive thinking, not dissimilar from the Spanish Inquisition. not dissimilar from Nazis. And I've done a video already showing that Hitler and Trump are one and the same. They're locking people up, separating families, and gassing them. Okay, so next guy. Let's see, I think it's on the same, no, it's on a different video. Let's stick with the main video here. Here we have JB Fun. He doesn't want to reveal his true identity so that he can go on trolling people throughout YouTube. The first thing he says, he gives several things. What's the big deal about this comment? We are in a continual state of restoration. It's always been that way. So guess how I responded? You know, I said simply, there are different definitions of restoration. There are different items where restoration applies differently. And I think I need to pause. Hold on. Okay, maybe not. Joseph Smith made it clear. He restored the priesthood. He restored the gospel. He restored the temple ordinances. He restored the church. Nelson was talking about the church beginning to be restored. Now, I gotta pause, hold on. Okay. So Nelson is the one who said what he said. And having gone to school and having did excellent work in English grammar, I was able to readily recognize the English grammar errors of President Nelson and JB Fun also. Whoever JB Fun is, he doesn't even provide a picture. You know, come on, people. You're probably a Russian if you're not putting your actual face on here. And so that, yeah, that's interesting. Russian trolls protecting Trump and protecting the church. Why would they do that? But yeah, the church does not need to be restored. It's been restored. So for Nelson to say that the church is beginning to be restored, he's the president of the church. He should know better. He should know how to word things properly. Again, you're going to get fooled, Mormons, when you blindly follow ignorant people as your leaders. I've had bishops who claim, I haven't even read the Book of Mormon. You intellectuals, you know, whatever. I'm in the position of power and authority. That's what God wants. Yeah, Okay, so then JB Fun then also commented, before I was able to find out that he had commented, "You can't be that stupid!" Exclamation point rather than a question. So there he's trying to insult me. And then he then does, "Oh my God," with OMG, the girl thing that started before text messaging. More to come. And sure enough, He didn't get a chance to do more to come because I finally stepped in and commented, correcting him on the concept of restoration. But then he replied, using my full name, you've got nothing substantive to criticize. Sorry for... He doesn't speak in my lingo, so I had to pay more attention. So, yet, do you see what he did there? He wanted to get the last word. He wants to dominate me on my channel. And so what he did was say, what your comment was to me, correcting me on restoration, I'm going to turn it around and criticizing you by saying I'm not going to criticize you. Boy, am I clever. That'll get him. That'll teach him. JB Fun, you're a dumbass. You're probably a Russian. Alright. And then here we have ZZ. Oh, no picture. And then he's calling... Oh, this is for another guy. So, yeah, I think I deleted that one too. I'm not sure. Alright. And... oh, Melissa Melissima. I have to bring her up. She may actually be Russian. Because I went to her site to do some research on her. And there's some indicators that she actually is a Russian. Even though she's living in the UK, according to what she's indicating by her comment. So that's all I'm going to say on that. She wasn't attacking me at all. She was trying to support me, I guess. Tatanka T, I'm guessing that's Polynesian, but he has a Western cowboy scene, the guy with a hat and cowboy gear sitting on a horse. And so I don't think that's actually him in his picture. I think he's putting that in there. Hold on, I gotta pause again. Okie dokie. He was referring to another video. And so we're going off of the original video I'm talking about. But he replied to a video where I mentioned, I guess, that the leaders are getting paid for their service. And he responds by saying, we are a lay leadership. Mormons, do your research. Just because the leaders say we're a lay leadership, just because the scriptures say that we're a lay leadership, doesn't mean we're actually a lay leadership. See, the church is a profit corporation. And I think that's what was talked about here, is that the church is not a church, but is actually a corporation, a sole corporation, as they filed back in 1940 with the state of Utah, and so it's on archives as being a corporation. And so when they get up with each new successive president and they says, oh, God has chosen me, and it's great that we have God leading our church to designate the next succeeding prophet. They're lying to us. Because in the court document that was filed in the state of Utah back in 1940, they specifically said that all future succession of the church corporation is to be passed off to the president of the 12. So Jesus isn't picking the new president. They don't meet in a quorum after the death of a prophet to discuss, well, who should we pick? Let's draw straws from a hat or whatever. All they do is have a ritualistic ceremony of, okay, president of the 12, you're now it. That's it. That's all they do. So there's no need for delays or days to wait. They already know who it's going to be. They've already decided it in advance. It is not by revelation. God does not choose. They've chosen. And they get paid. And they claim, oh, it's not because we're a prophet, it's because we're in business boards, as a board of directors over companies. We're working. Yes, since when has a board of directors ever actually worked a day in their life? So don't get fooled. They don't sacrifice their lives. They don't sacrifice their lifestyles. You know, you read in the Book of Mormon, Lehi, he gave up his wealth to live in a tent, to leave his homeland. And yes, in the Promised Land, well, he actually died, so he didn't really get to benefit by it. But his future generations did. But you don't see that same type of sacrifice from the leaders of the Mormon Church. I just realized I'm digressing and finding further criticisms of the church, rather than criticizing Mormons who think they can criticize me for criticizing the brethren. So, I mean, let's get to my comment. So on the particular video, LDS Church President declares church is a fraud, I then deleted Stewart's comment, and I replied, read more, shouldn't be more, that should have been the end of it. Yeah, that's what I thought. Alright, so I'm going to read it because it's really cool, man. Yeah, Mormons come to this video with the specific purpose of standing in defense of the church, but only insult and make fun of me. Mormon abusive behavior is so cool. I wish I wasn't such an apostate antichrist. I realize now that I'm in the wrong and the abusive Mormons are right. How could I have been so wrong? How could I have been so deceived? 6 Mormons have revealed themselves as haters for having given me a thumbs down. How many more will reveal themselves as agents of Lucifer? Oh, you can't say Lucifer. No, that's wrong. That's abusive speech. Yes, I can. What was Lucifer's plan of salvation, Mormons? To take away agency. When you attack me on my channel, you're trying to silence me. You're trying to take away my agency. That's Lucifer's plan. You are following Lucifer's example. That's why I tell you guys, when you attack me on my channel, you automatically lost. You guys are so dumb. You know, yes, there's the Spaceballs comment where the helmet guy says, now you know why evil always wins, because good is dumb. Dumb, or evil is dumb. Look at Trump. He thinks he's clever. Oh, we've tricked the system, and I'm president, and I can get away with anything now. On Tuesday, Manafort will be exposed for all of the crimes he committed while having already confessed to being guilty. It's going to expose Trump as being a part of the criminal behavior. Cohen already implicated Trump as a criminal. Mueller isn't saying, okay, yeah, whatever you say, we'll go with it. No, Mueller has the documentation, the evidence. He knew what Cohen should say before Cohen confessed. That's how they do interrogations at the federal level. At the state level, that's a different story. At least here in Utah it is. You know, they just arrest you so that they can supply the finances for the court systems and the jails. Because they get 98% of us to plead guilty rather than taking it to trial and being exposing the prosecution as having trumped up the charges for the purpose of supplying money for the state of Utah. But Mormons. The Book of Mormon not only talks about true Christ-like precepts, it also is very specific and detailed about Luciferian precepts. You can learn all about how to be evil by reading the Book of Mormon, as well as learning how to be good from reading the Book of Mormon. You get to choose. No, you don't. Because there are consequences for following Lucifer. Because it gets you in trouble. You commit crimes. You commit abuses. You violate people's rights. You don't want to follow the bad examples. You don't want to be a Sith Lord. You want to be a Jedi Knight. And yet, that's what people did with Star Wars. We're forming a Sith cult. I'm a Sith Lord. No, you're not. You're just a Padawan apprentice. You're not wearing the true uniform. A recommended movie that no Mormon will ever watch because it's rated R is Johnny Depp's Nine Gates. Hold on a minute. Let me get the exact title. Johnny Depp movie Ninth gate. Yeah, ninth gate. Okay. It perfectly lays out the levels within the Church of Satan. It's got those who think it's just cool and fascinating to belong to an anti-societal organization. And they just do it because it's the cool thing to do, it's in fashion or whatever. And then you have those that take it a little more seriously. They have an organized ceremony and read from the book, and you have that level. And then the next level, you have certain people who think that they know better than the others, that they've got the secret information that nobody else can comprehend and only they can figure it out, and everybody needs to follow them. And then you have the truth. And it's all portrayed in that movie. This is exactly what's going on in the Mormon Church. You have people joining the Mormon Church because it's a cool thing to do. Wow, my friend says they're a Mormon and they're my friend, so I'm going to join just to be with them and be cool like them. Or it's cool to abstain from wearing a bathing suit at the swimming pool. Or, whatever, to be cool, to fit in. People think, oh, the church is a social organization where we can all unite like a rope. It's got strands of thread that are all wound together, which makes it tighter and unbreakable. Come on, people. Don't use a rope analogy. All you have to do to destroy the bond is burn it. That's even from the Book of Mormon. Group of Mormons caught by the priests of King Noah, and they're held captive, and then Alma and Amulek, or am I mixing my stories? Probably. Well, anyway, a group of Christian, Book of Mormon Christians are being held captive, and Alma and Amulek are shown the burning of the people. And Amulek says, Alma, raise your hand and stop this. And Alma says, no, this needs to be a testimony and witness against the people's wickedness, and so they can be held accountable, blah, blah, blah. So you got to be careful about using analogies. The chewing gum analogy that has gone throughout the church in the past, which I hope has been shamed out of existence, but women used to be told that if you have sex, even if you're raped, you're like a chewed gum. You've lost your flavor and you're no good. Wow. Yeah, so I hope nobody's using that analogy anymore. This was intended to be a short video. Because now it's going to take just as long to upload it and then to save it. So, Mormons, what's wrong with you? Stop following the bad examples. You're supposed to be Mormon. You're supposed to be studying your Book of Mormon. You're supposed to be choosing the right. You're supposed to be able to discern good from evil. And yet, example after example here on YouTube shows that you're not. You're hypocrites. You're evil hypocrites. You're contributing to the destruction of our nation, our society, our way of life. You are contributing to our enslavement by those in control. Set aside your pride. Quit putting thumbs down on my channel. I know you're not actually listening to my video. All I know is that you see Mormon, oh, thumbs down, no criticism of the church, thumbs down. So just cut it out. And maybe I'm preaching to the choir. Maybe I'm preaching to those who are listening this long to my videos, to those who already know the truth. Because I do get thumbs up when I criticize the church as well. So, cut it out, Mormons. You know, I won't talk about the stars. They're people, not heaven stars. So, that's a different issue, and it's a personal one. So, but they need to understand it as well. So, cut it out.